Fritz Leiber's 1949 weird, vampirish horror short story, The Girl with the Hungry Eyes, is quite simply one of the best short stories I have ever read. Leiber's tale is about a photographer who does modeling sessions to sell for use in advertisements. An unknown young woman knocks on his door proposing he photograph her, and everyone he shows the pictures to want to use her in their latest ad campaign. Suddenly, her image is in intense demand, but she stays completely secretive about everything in her life, including even her name. The story quickly takes fascinating turns toward an odd kind of vampirism, toward the truly horrific. It has one of the scariest endings ever, toward the uncanny, toward the ultimate femme fatale, and most interestingly, toward a thoughtful exploration of the perils of obsessing over idealized images and mistaking them for real. The Girl with the Hungry Eyes first appeared in a 1949 25-cent Avon paperback, collecting together 6 brand new fantasy thrillers by luminaries of the genre, including Manly Wade Wellman and Frank Belknap Long. It just so happens that the cover of the 1949 paperback by the artist Ann Cantor is one of the great covers of all time. And so this 1949 edition is an ideal instance of fascinating and layered interplay between cover art and story. I'll return to the art of Ann Cantor and the exquisite fit of artist and writer in a moment, but first, to Fritz Leiber's story. Like any great work of literature, the story is so many different things simultaneously. It is a time capsule plunge into the beginning of the post-World War II economic boom, with a focus on Madison Avenue and the advertising industry, which through billboards and magazine glossies would create demand for new products with an intensity never seen before. And it focuses specifically on using the it girl to sell cigarettes or soda or cars, as if her aura and allure and sex appeal spills right into the product being sold. As Leiber writes, we've had the face and the body and the look, so why shouldn't someone come along who sums it all up so completely that we have to call her the girl and blazon her up on all the billboards from Times Square to Telegraph Hill? Open any magazine and there she is, creating the need for a particular brand of cigarettes, bra, or perfume. These billboards and advertisements are, incidentally, all from 1949, the year of the story's publication. Girl with the Hungry Eyes is also about the weird psychology of desire, when there is an industry bent on creating images of desire that somehow engage the deep mythic and psychological cravings that lurk in the recesses of our psyche. Take a look at the cover. There she is on the billboard, lit by floodlights since it's nighttime. The billboard's a bright yellow beacon of desire shining through the darkness, a vision of idealized beauty convincing the viewer to smoke her brand of cigarettes. But then there's that weird doubling in the picture. She's up there in idealized form on the billboard, enticing us, but she's also standing at the foot of the billboard, her crimson nailed hand around the neck of a suitor. You'd think he'd be in paradise, the ultimate fusion of the idealized vision and the very real woman pulling him toward her. You'd think he was in an erotic Valhalla, but no, something is clearly deeply wrong. Perilous even, as his face looks fearful and he pulls away from her grasp. Of course it's wrong, because the story is also a fast philosophical meditation on the thenotic gulf between the real and ideal, posing the question of just where is the real when we fetishize the ideal, and what are the psychological costs of that kind of advertising-fueled idealization. Leiber explores the thenotic or death energy in compulsive idealization or fetishizing the unreal image. That guy is in danger, and he knows it. Looking at the original 1949 paperback, there's something bizarrely uncanny, like a house of mirrors, about encountering a story about fetishizing images in a 25-cent paperback with cover art that basically sells the book through idealized and sexualized images. The cover, along with the story, opens up a moment of pause. Just what is going on here? Especially since 1949 was boom time for paperback sales, and so many publishers were encouraging cover artists to sexualize the images on the cover any way they could. This was especially true for Avon, which was almost entirely reprints. This volume's a rare exception, and would conspicuously eroticize the covers of even the tamest of books. And Leiber's story is all about eyes, hungry eyes, and eyes are ground zero for his witchy maelstrom tale of desire gone amok. And one extremely common tool of cover artists at the time was having a woman on the cover stare directly into the eyes of a potential purchaser. It worked. You can almost hear the ka-chink of the register as the sale is made. Ann Cantor's masterful cover art captures so much of the story and so much of the whole theatrics of looking and desire, and does so in a visual tableau that does perfect justice to the story. And just why have most of us never heard of the cover artist Ann Cantor? Well, one reason is she worked mostly for Avon, and her work on covers was not credited at the time, adding to the incorrect sense that cover artists were almost all men. But Cantor's work was everywhere in the late 1940s and 50s, and some of it is very, very good. Let me show you. This is a 1950 promotional photograph to showcase the then brand new Avon dispensing machine for Avon paperbacks. I think it provides an amazing time capsule view of reading at the time, and I did a video on it that I will link to below. The first book is Irving Shulman's Amboy Dukes, with a cover by none other than Ann Cantor. Amboy Dukes so rankled the censors it made its way into moral panic Senate hearings on dangerous paperbacks. But the cover, I love it. These two gang members are so fastidious in their dress, pour over this image, and we become fascinated with each of them. All the broad cliches about the violence of gangs falls by the wayside as we stare in fascination with these two imagining their lives. Ann Cantor draws us in close to the particular qualities of their lives as lived exactly as the writer Shulman does. Cantor also painted the cover for what might be the most hard-boiled novel of all, Paul Kane's Fast One, a train wreck of mounting violence and savagery and frantic dysfunction. It centers on a gangster named Kells, hell-bent on taking over new territories. The woman in the bath, it's his girlfriend, Grandicourt. That image of a wounded Kells bursting through the door, momentum carrying him forward, and still full of frenetic energy, stumbling into the calm, laving space of a bath, visually nails perfectly the constantly mounting mayhem that runs roughshod over all things quiet, good, and lovely. And this is Ann Cantor's visually stunning cover of Nelson Algren's Never Come Morning. That is Steffi, much beloved by the boxer Bruno, but Bruno's in jail, and she has fallen on incredibly hard times. The lamentation in her face, and yet the gorgeous dress and total image. Orange has never been used more expressively in cover art. It reminds me of Frederick Layton's Flaming June. I see that cover, and I want to know all about Steffi, want to know her story, and bringing subject in close is one of Cantor's great gifts, and the sheer aesthetic, erotic intensity of the cover painting is pretty intense. Never Come Morning, I think we will let this night linger a while. I think Cantor dealt with the divided modern psyche, the mask or persona, extraordinarily well. I find her Mortgage on Life cover with the interplay of selves endlessly fascinating. And so is Ann Cantor's cover art for C.S. Lewis's Out of the Silent Planet, where a philologist interested, like Lewis, in the history and working of language, encounters an alien world. Her cover art is alluring, uncanny, and properly spooky, a kind of biological nightmare of nature run amok in this alien world. But then, like the book, foregrounds the question of just who is the alien. Cantor could handle gangster and noir with the best of him, the blonde, the gangster, and the private eye. And certainly she had a thing for visually exploring some of the darker dynamics between artists and their models. Here are Ann Cantor's illustrations for Love Toy and the lives and loves of a modern Mr. Bluebeard, and Maurice Leblanc's Wanton Venus. Ann Cantor never received public credit for her Avon book covers, so proper recognition is long overdue. I think her Girl with the Hungry Eyes is one of the best paperback covers ever, and much of her work is fun, alluring, and fascinating, and helped drive the whole paperback boom, and did it in a style both fiercely intelligent and all her own. I've included links below for 2 outstanding audio performances of Leiber's brilliant story, and a link to the story itself at Internet Archive, and a link to Steve's Flickr site, who provides crystal clear scans of many of the most interesting paperback covers anywhere, as well as fascinating and always accurate bibliographic information. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Those 2 little clicks make a big difference to me.